press subscribe, bell icon and like button.
And so, to understand modesty is basically to understand the ego, its various facets, because ego comes in many forms and in many shapes and in many ways. Hundreds of different ways ego can come and fool us. And so, understanding of the ego at a very, very deep level is extremely important for us. And that's why we'll be focusing this more part on understanding the ego and remembering that that is because of some impurity inside us, impurity in our Chetan Shakti because of the karmic influx. And so our ultimate goal is to go into the Unter-Atma and get into the purification process. So the next aspect of a sort of ego one we need to understand is the knowledge. Ego about our knowledge. Today we are all educated. This was never the case in the past history. In the history of humankind, today we find majority of people educated, having good university degrees, having many years of education. And so naturally the ego related to knowledge is very strong in us. Very strong. It is very subtle, but it is very strong. And this young man went to Einstein, and Einstein was on his deathbed. And this young man, he was himself very bright, and so he thought he is very knowledgeable. And so he went to Einstein and said, "Sir, you are such a knowledgeable person, such a wise person. And so how do you feel now that you are so much knowledgeable?" And Einstein has said that, "Look, when I was young like you, I was thinking I am very knowledgeable. But as my so-called knowledge increased, I realized that what I know is very small. And more I came to know, I realized my knowledge is smaller and smaller and smaller. And today, I think my knowledge is just insignificant, just a drop in the ocean." He said, what an individual knows, no matter how intelligent he is, no matter how knowledgeable he is, no matter how many degrees he has, an individual's knowledge is like a drop in the ocean. So what we can know, if that is the ocean, what we know is just a drop in the ocean. So knowable is an ocean, our knowledge is a drop in that. And Einstein further told him, "Look, and what is knowable is like a drop in the ocean of that which is unknowable." So there is something which is unknowable, which is like an ocean, and within that just one drop is what is knowable. You take that drop out and make it as big as an ocean. And in that ocean of that which is knowable, what you know is like a drop. So really, friends, our knowledge is really insignificant compared to what is knowable, and much less significant compared to what is unknowable. So any ego related to knowledge is really not worth having it, and so we should sort of be very modest about our so-called knowledge. As we said, the ego comes in many forms and many shapes and many sizes and in many ways. And another ego is about our power, our money power, or our influence with others. And we need to really re-examine this aspect. So whenever we think we are some great person having so much money or having so much other power, we need to really go deep inside and try to understand the reality. Guru Nanak, the founder of Sikhism, was traveling from one city to another. And he reached the city where he wanted to go. And he is sitting in a small room in a guest house. And while traveling, his shirt got torn off. And since he had only two shirts, so he was sitting there and stitching his shirt. And one man walked in and paid his respect to Guru Nanak. And Guru Nanak was stitching his shirt. And this man said, "See, I am Mr. X, and I am a very rich person, richest person in this town, and I have great influence, and even the king will listen to me and do what I said. He will never say no to me. So, sir, if you have anything to be done, just let me know, and I will get it done in a flash of a minute. Just very quickly I will get it done. Anything you need and I can get it done." And then he is waiting for the response from Nanak. But Nanak is busy stitching his shirt, which was torn off while he was traveling. Because he had only two shirts and he will need the other shirt next day. So he has to stitch it now. And 2 minutes passed, and this Mr. X thought, Guru Nanak has not responded. Maybe he didn't hear what I said. So he repeated the same thing. And he said, "Sir, I am the richest man in this town, and even I have great influence on the king, and I can get the things done. So if you need anything, please let me know, and I can get it done immediately." And Nanak, he had just completed his last stitch, and so he took out the needle from the thread because he completed the stitching, and asked the man, "Can you put your right hand ahead?" And the man spread his right hand. Guru Nanak put the needle on his palm and said, please preserve this carefully. This is a very important needle for me, very valuable for me. Please preserve this, and when I need, you give it back to me. The man literally laughed and he said, sir, don't you worry, I will preserve it because I have a lot of safes. I have so much money that I keep in safes, and I have a lot of safes, and all those safes are guarded by armed security guard. So your needle is going to be very, very safe. And then Guru Nanak told him, yeah, and when we meet in the next life, I want you to return this needle to me. When we meet in the next life, I want you to give this needle back to me. So the man got really a big shock. And he said, sir, but I am very sorry. I cannot take this needle to the next life. No matter what I can do, I cannot take anything from this life to the next life. Not my money, not my diamond, not my property, not my name, not my fame, not my status, nothing I can take. When I die, I have to leave everything here. And so the man realized the limitations of his money power. And this is exactly what we should always remember, that whatever we have, it is a transitory. Imam Anityam, a beautiful sutra given by Bhagavan Mahavira to control this type of ego, that Imam Anityam, whatever we have is a transitory. It is not permanent. It is going to change. And it is not mine. It is just a coincidence that these things are with me. Because if the death is able to take away all that I have, then how can it be mine? So Imam Anityam is another important sutra to be followed to sort of control our ego of this type, that I am a very, very powerful person, that I can do this and I can do that and I can do that. Nothing wrong in having that type of ability, but thinking that that is the ultimate power is what is wrong. So the reality of Imam Anityam, this whole thing is transitory. It is going to change. It is not permanent. And once we are aware of that, our ego would remain completely under our control. We will be following modesty rather than the ego. And so, knowing that which is transitory is extremely, extremely important for us.
Press subscribe, bell icon and like button.